Hello, so it is a Sunday morning, July 7th, 2024, and I am up at the park. I was getting ready to take a walk, but I wanted to take a few minutes to record something, some thoughts, and I think in past recordings, and I will say I have not heard those for a while. A couple of them I listened to a few times because I don't know. I was trying to hear it from a stranger's perspective, um, to just see if it sounded too far out or just really crazy. And they sound a little far out. I've reached a point now where I don't even really want to listen to them. I did it because that was the guidance I received. I will continue to receive that guidance and I'll follow it, but in those past recordings, anything that I feel intuitively or any way that information comes to me, like I may have said something like, well, I heard, or I saw, or I understood. I'm using those references to make the information, I guess, like to explain the information that I receive, but not so much to explain how it's received. I haven't really talked about that yet, but I think this recent piece of information that I've received is so bothersome, and I'm gonna call it a vision. The vision was, I was looking through the eyes of one of my children, and I don't know which one, but they woke up one night and they kind of came down the stairs, and if you go a couple stairs down and you lean down, you can see into the living room. And through their eyes, I saw my body on our living room couch sleeping, which I've been known to do. I will sleep downstairs many times on the couch, or I'll sleep up in the bedroom, kind of by myself or with one of my kids. And that night I was sleeping on the couch, and there were two men there, and both of them had no clothing on, and their backs were to me. So I didn't see faces, or I just, saw two men. And, I didn't take any time to study body shapes or anything like that. It was a vision, and I was drugged, which of course I wouldn't know if I were looking at myself through my kids' eyes. They wouldn't know that. But they saw two men raping me, and I was out. But you couldn't really see my face. But they knew it was me. They knew I was sleeping there, and it looked like my body, and these men had positioned me in a sense where they were raping me. And I mean, it was witnessed through my kids' eyes. And that's a pretty horrible vision to have. I remember in the middle of COVID, after I was fired from my job, taking my kids. And I don't remember how the conversation went, but we were in the car, and one of them said to the other, hey, Mom didn't know. And the other said, what? And his sister said, Mom didn't know. She didn't know. And, you know, they were kind of thought, and I wanted to ask them what they meant or what was going on. And I didn't push too hard because they wanted to talk about so little. They were so upset. And I just kind of let them talk, and I had just taken away their electronics. They weren't happy about that. And I never forgot that they said that. And I never found out what that meant. But after that vision that I had, that might make sense now to me. And if it does make sense and these pieces do fit, then that would be a horrifying thing as a kid to witness your mother being raped. You know, I think in my last recording I mentioned that like I was being guided to leave this marriage. And you know, it's not a marriage anymore. It's been a divorce for a few years, but to leave my ex-husband, like just 100% cut off, go, leave, step away, because you can't make room for new if you're occupied with the old. And for me, this is going to be somewhat of a calling, like a spiritual calling, because it was going to be something that I didn't want to do. And I understand that context, because no, I don't look forward to it. And I think I've mentioned this in a previous recording as well. I don't want to try and raise two kids on one not very generous salary on my own, when I could put expenses together with their father and help give them more than what I could give them alone. I am not excited to do that. And I am not excited to tear them apart from their father, because I too was once a kid and my parents divorced, and I remember absolutely how it felt. And this is, you know, I don't want them to have to live through that and be upset and not have access to their mom and dad all the time. Those things are difficult. But I could say and think I did. I do have enough proof. I have proof that my husband was lying to me because of phone records and whatnot. But I don't know what information was exchanged between he and my previous employer, and I don't know who initiated those calls. I could look, but I don't even want to. I don't want to know that. I will tell you that. I'm quite sure my husband may have initiated that. And that makes me so sad. It doesn't matter who called whom. Either way, it was wrong and it broke our trust. And that should be enough. But I will also say that during that time, there were a lot of things that didn't make sense to me. There was a lot of sabotage. There was a lot of ugliness. There was what appeared to be kind of a setup because things happened mysteriously. There was no reason for me to have been fired. There was absolutely no reason. And it happened out of nowhere. And I kept thinking, if I was set up and somebody wanted me to lose my job and more, because every which way I looked, things were sabotaged. I was thinking perhaps somebody's trying to sabotage my marriage, and perhaps my husband is a victim too. Maybe he was set up like I was, and I couldn't dismiss that possibility. And, breaking up a family is never, I don't think, anything anyone would want to do without a great reason, because it's such a change, and it's so hurtful and painful for everybody involved. But the guidance was leave, get out. You're being called to leave this marriage. You're being called to move on. Spiritually, I was told everything's going to be okay if I do, and everything will not be okay if I don't. And it was, I guess, given to me, you cannot stay in this relationship. It's not good for you. It's not safe. You won't survive with your life. Get out now. Leave right now. And that's the calling. The calling for me was to do something that I didn't want to do. And it was like, if you don't leave when you're called to leave, things are going to escalate. It's going to get worse. It was like somebody's going to come up to you and tell you some things. And situations that have happened in the past are going to come to light. You're going to get clarity on some things, and they're not going to be good. You will have wished you left, but again, this is free will. Everybody has free will to make their decisions, and I do not want to go against Source. If I'm being called to leave, I want to leave, but man, that is a difficult situation or decision to make when you don't have 100% solid proof. It is not my favorite to leave on an intuitive hit. I want solid proof, and I don't have any. And then I had made the decision like, well, maybe I should just stay, even though it's horrible and bad, and there are things that I'm not fully aware of. But maybe I should wait to leave until I have proof I cannot do this to my family. And, I had made that decision, and I have waited and waited, and I haven't had anyone come forward to tell me vital pieces of information that I need to know. And I finally made the decision. And it's like, I do need to leave. I am ready to leave. I'm ready to follow. I'm ready to accept this calling. I trust God. I trust my intuition. I choose me before I choose anyone else. I choose me, and I choose my kids. And everything outside of that comes second. And, I sat down and I spoke with my husband, and I think I put this in the last recording as well. I told him I need to separate. I don't want to be with you anymore. And, we had that conversation, and it was very loud and clear. And he was very upset. I don't know how he feels. I'm told this is very one-sided and he doesn't care. This is an act. Quite honestly, I think he doesn't even know his feelings. I think we have a very, very strong bond. I think it's a twin flame bond. And I don't even know what that is. But intuitively, again, that's what I'm told. And it's a bond that needs to be broke. And I didn't want to break it. And so when he got upset, it would be like, well, those have got to be crocodile tears, because man, he is very good at this. It pulled at my heartstrings. It's not something I want to do. It's something I need to do. And I do have love for him. And I don't think he recognizes his feelings for me. I think truly in his head and mind, there's no love there. And the way he has behaved, I mean, he's got a closed heart. But I think there will come a time where he recognizes there is a connection between the two of us, and that's going to hit him hard. He just, he doesn't know that piece yet. After all these years, he doesn't know that piece. And he also doesn't know that, like, twin flames kind of mirror each other. They go through similar circumstances. And I'm speaking on something, again, I don't really know about, but what he does to me, he will do to himself. So anything I experience that may be traumatic or painful that he inflicts upon me is going to come back to him, and tenfold. And I don't want that for me or him, but this is one of those things. I do not have control over this, and after some time I have finally relinquished control. The first time I told him we needed to separate, he was upset. It broke my heart, but I didn't go back on it. And I waited for him to arrange some things and leave, because as a single man with no kids in tow, he can live anywhere, stay anywhere, do anything. That was our divorce agreement. But with 2 kids, it would be better to keep the kids in the house. They're staying with me. I should be in the house until we plan to sell it. He never left. I tried to do this the right way. After some time, I talked to him again, and I said, "You have got to leave." And again, very upset, just very emotionally upset, did not want to go, despite all of this ugliness. Something that I don't see factually around me, but intuitively. I think he's cheating. I think he's hurting me now. I think he's, I just got another confirmational vision that I talked about. And I pray to God that my children did not see anything, but that isn't looking good. And I have to get him away. My concern is that he could have hurt my kids. And it also occurred to me that if he has drugged me some way or somehow and raped me to a point where I can't remember what happened, I worry he could have possibly done that to my children as well. And that is a big concern for me. I want to take them to safety, and I will do everything I can. For some reason, I don't feel like he's going to easily let me go. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he believes that without him, I won't survive a day. I really think he thinks that he has made himself so indispensable. But what he does not know is in my life before he and I met, I had to do absolutely everything for myself. There were some things that I was given in life that I appreciate, and that was things like some money for college. I was given some hand-me-down cars. That was very kind. And I was taken on some travels with my mother, so I was able to see some of the world. And those were things that were given to me that were amazing, and I'm grateful for them. But anything short of that, I've had to do. And I've also withstood a tremendous amount of bullying. I think in one form or another, it's something I've witnessed or been a victim to a lot of my life. And, my last job, that's no exception. I did not have a person on my side at that job, and I don't even know how or why sides were made, is the level of bullying that I had to withstand, which is really sad. And sometimes situations recreate themselves until you learn the lesson. And I feel like at this current job, I am on my way, if not already there, of being in this very same situation. Again, not something that was created on my part, but rather having been surrounded on people or around people that have taken it upon themselves to make my life difficult. A mother, an ex-husband, just family members. So, I'm not weak on that piece either. I I've gotten very strong because of it. So I'm going to be fine if he leaves. And being spiritually assured of that is a great help. And that second time I talked to him and asked my ex-husband to leave and go find someplace else to live and to separate. We talked about a month timeline, and a month came and went, and I was expecting him to go and leave, and he said he had found a place to live, and then at the last second he tells me, oh, it's not available for another half a month. And he didn't choose to keep me updated on this information. And I couldn't be free of him as quickly as I had hoped, because he was unwilling to go to the places that I went to be free of him. For instance, my mother's. He and my mother have consorted on many things, I'm told intuitively. And he has a better relationship with her than I do. He still doesn't want to go over there. The last time I went over there, that was the end of our relationship with my mother. I have not quite spoken with her or spent any time with her or kept in contact with her since leaving. And I would think it's a man's responsibility if a woman tells you to get up out of the house and leave because she doesn't feel good, she doesn't feel safe, the trust is broken. You get up and go. I mean, honestly, don't do that to other people. If somebody says it's time to go, take that for what it's worth and go. So he has not been honorable. He's not going to do it the right way. He says he's got a place. I was about to say, let's have you go camp. He offered to sleep in his car for these last 2 weeks before he moves in. And that, of course, is something that I feel I cannot do, because I don't want our children to think that their dad is somewhere sleeping in a car because he doesn't have a place to live for 2 more weeks. That would be unacceptable to them. They would worry about him. There's no way to hide information like that. And I think he was banking on that. And so unhappily, I told him to stay. And he has. And we get along for the kids' sake. And I'm not going to spend my time being super angry. Because I don't want to be, because it's just over. But I am very disappointed in him and behaving that way and not keeping in contact and telling me what was going on, and for accepting a home that wasn't available in time. All these things are dishonorable. And we've got 1 more week until he leaves. And I'm told that I find out more information before he leaves. I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but again, it's like I hear that we get in a big fight and he leaves and he doesn't have a place to go. And that's only apparently going to be the case for 1 more week. So if it doesn't happen within this week, then something's changed. Either way, I don't want him to stay in my life or be with me. And I have surrendered, I'm going to say, to Source. I've surrendered to Source, and Source goes under so many names: God, Allah, Source. I've surrendered to Source, and I was asked to leave, and I've left. And I'm working hard, and I'm praying for help to break these ties with him. I do not want to be with him. I'm ready to move on, and I'm ready to take care of myself and my kids, and they're coming with me, and I know we're going to be okay. And that staying in this hell isn't good for anybody. So it's mostly done intuitively. I think that's all I have to say for this time. Have great days ahead of you. Thank you.